Hi guys, the slippery individual Michael Gove was giving evidence to the COVID inquiry where he tried to suggest that preparation for a no-deal Brexit in 2019 toughened up government departments when it came to dealing with the pandemic itself. Now, during the pandemic in 2020, the UK was negotiating the TCA, the trade deal, with the European Union, and during that time Brussels had offered the UK the option to extend the transition period beyond 2020, in order for both sides to focus on dealing with the pandemic. Boris Johnson and his government said no. But Michael Gove's thinking here is beyond absurd. Have a listen.
I would argue that the skills acquired, honed and refined during EU exit preparation helped us not only to have an organisational system that was better in dealing with the crisis, but having a cadre of people who have been through an intense process that enhanced their ability to respond.
In terms of workforce capacity, of course, it cannot be proved that the fact that a committee didn't meet means that we were not as well prepared for the pandemic as we might have been. But doesn't it stand to reason that a significant overloading of staff, as is set out in this paragraph here, is a reflection of the fact that there was too much work for the workforce in the civil service at the moment, whose focus was bent away from what they should have been doing, preparedness for a pandemic, towards EU exit?
No, I don't agree with that, because I think that the preparation for EU exit, in and of itself, was some of the best preparation that could have been undergone for any future crisis. One of the points that has, I think, been well made by Oliver Letwin and by others is that it is training, it is the acquisition of general skills in crisis management that is among the most useful ways of ensuring that we have pandemic preparedness. And of course, it is possible that had a particular meeting or had a particular work stream been taken forward, then we might have identified something that could have strengthened our ability to weather the pandemic. But nowhere have I seen, I think outside one or two scholarly articles from John Hopkins and elsewhere, anyone who was suggesting that government should be orienting its work towards the particular type of pandemic that COVID was to become.
Okay, blaming other people. Never taking responsibility for themselves. Now, a number of things to talk about here. He talked about skills. What skills? What skills were developed during the preparations for a no-deal Brexit? Now, it must be remembered that Michael Gove and others said at the beginning of 2019 that the UK's exit from the EU would be smooth. There would be no problems. So either he was lying to the public, or he was lying outright by saying that everything will be smooth. Because at the beginning of 2019, he said there won't be any problems. Towards the latter end, he said, yeah, there may be some issues, but businesses in particular need to prepare for Brexit. He said government was prepared for Brexit, but businesses needed to prepare. So was he lying there as well? Because he is saying here that, well, we were prepared for the pandemic. Obviously, the UK was not prepared for the pandemic. So if your preparation for the pandemic was a byproduct of your preparation for a no-deal Brexit, and you were not prepared for the pandemic, does that mean that you were not prepared for a no-deal Brexit as well? The lady here talked about the workforce limits. Of course, there was a workforce limit. The Tories over the last number of years have sought to reduce the civil service. Jacob Rees-Mogg was talking about cutting it by 70 to 80,000. So what sort of preparation was there? It was also mentioned no meetings for a committee. No committee meetings were held. Why was there no committee meetings held? Now, Michael Gove responds by saying, well, nobody really suggested it. I don't believe that for a second. I imagine in the preparation for a pandemic, meetings would have been advised. Now, his get out of jail card is, well, there were no meetings suggested of this to deal with this type of pandemic. So it was probably part of exercise sickness to hold meetings on a daily basis, not a daily basis, but on a regular basis for the preparation. And government departments should be prepared in some way. But Michael Gove can say, well, we didn't prepare for this type of pandemic. It was more general. And of course, there was too much work going on in government departments for the preparation of a no-deal Brexit, which eventually didn't materialise. But government departments were being told, we need to prepare for a no-deal Brexit. Hundreds of millions of pounds were spent on the preparation of a no-deal Brexit, and then in the end it didn't materialise. But that was time and resources to focus on something that in the end didn't happen, which could have been used to focus on a pandemic instead, but didn't happen instead. So Michael Gove, of course, trying to cover his arse as usual, blaming other people and trying to suggest that Brexit in a way created a skill set to help people deal with the pandemic. And as we know, government departments were not prepared for the pandemic. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.